Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources.
Washington Post World, November 8, 12:05 America, New York. Nicaragua's Ortega seeks re-election after jailing rivals. Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega has sought a fourth consecutive term in elections the United States has called a pantomime vote following the jailing of his top rivals, and the country's opposition has urged voters to boycott. Washington Post World, November 8, 12:01 America, New York. The European Union makes a policy play in Venezuela. Washington is not amused. U.S. officials and some Venezuelan opposition figures are chafing against the increasingly assertive role of European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell in the South American country.
PowerPost, November 8, 7:23 America, New York. Space could be the next frontier for cyber threats. There's a push to name space a critical infrastructure sector.
Washington Post World, November 8, 7:13 America, New York. They will not come in, mounting standoff over migrants on Poland and Belarus border. European nations are accusing Belarus of weaponizing refugees in its disputes with the EU.
November 8, 7:12 America, New York. What happened at the deadly Astroworld show? Lawsuit filed in Astroworld tragedy after fatal crowd surge. See the moment Travis Scott spots ambulance. Criminal investigation into deadly crowd surge could take weeks, mayor says.
BBC News World. November 8, 7:08 America, New York. Poland clarifies abortion law after protests over mother's death. The guidance was issued after a pregnant woman's death was blamed on Poland's strict abortion laws. Mirror World News. November 8, 7:04 America, New York. John Simpson fights back tears describing Afghan children facing starvation. Now under the Taliban rule, the country is teetering on the brink of major disaster, with poverty-stricken families so desperate they have been driven to selling their children to men and other families.
World CBS News, com. November 8, 7:03 America, New York. Police looking for shark attack victim find only goggles. It came out of the blue, Paul Millichip's wife said.
Washington Post World, November 8, 7 o'clock America, New York. The unlikeliest of sights amid Yemen's war. Trees sculpted into whimsical forms. Not far from Marib's front lines, gardeners find peace by transforming trees into art.
BBC News World. November 8, 7 o'clock America, New York. Travis Scott fans describe Astroworld panic. I had to get out of there. Festivalgoers caught up in the crush at Astroworld, which left 8 people dead, recall their fear. BBC News World. November 8, 6:57 America, New York. Oscar Pistorius parole process to start in South Africa. The ex-Olympian will first have to meet the parents of the woman he murdered, Reeva Steenkamp.
RT World News. November 8, 6:53 America, New York. Child porn cases set to overwhelm German police. During the first half of 2021, reports of child pornography in Germany almost reached the country's caseload from last year, as federal police authorities warn that its forces are being stretched to their limits.
BBC News World. November 8, 6:48 America, New York. Astroworld. Travis Scott and Drake sued over deadly U.S. festival crush. The rapper faces legal action after at least 8 people were killed during his Astroworld festival. Mirror World News. November 8, 6:43 America, New York. Former Disneyland employees uncover biggest secrets guests didn't know existed. 2 former employees of one of Disney's resorts have lifted the lid on life at the most magical place on Earth, from banned beards and forced smiles to secret tunnels.
New York Times World News. November 8, 6:42 America, New York. U.S. travel ban ends, and excited passengers board first flight from London. Long lines formed in Heathrow Airport for the first scheduled trips to the United States since the Biden administration lifted its travel ban. A flight to New York at Heathrow Airport, near London, on Monday. Washington Post World. November 8, 6:30 America, New York. French bishops agree to compensate sex abuse victims. The president of France's Bishops' Conference said the country's Catholic Church made a decisive step after it agreed to provide financial compensation to sex abuse victims. New York Times World News. November 8, 6:28 America, New York. COVID gets even redder. The partisan gap in deaths has grown larger. A nurse in Rexburg, Idaho monitors a COVID patient.
BBC News World. November 8, 6:26 America New York, COP26. Rich countries, pushing back, on paying for climate loss. Poorer countries say they are not able to get compensation for the damage caused by climate change.
PowerPost. November 8, 6:22 America New York. Progressives, incredibly pessimistic, they'll get what they want in social spending bill. Another possible sticking point? Immigration.
November 8, 6:15 America New York. Vin Diesel pleads with Dwayne Johnson to return for Fast and Furious 10. Vin Diesel is calling on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to end their highly publicized feud and rejoin Fast and Furious for the franchise finale. November 8, 6:14 America New York. CIA director had rare conversation with Putin while in Moscow last week. CIA Director Bill Burns held a rare conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow last week, to convey serious U.S. concerns about Russia's military buildup along the Ukrainian border and to attempt to determine Russian intentions, two sources with direct knowledge told CNN.
BBC News World. November 8, 6:12 America New York. Athol Williams, South Africa corruption whistleblower flees for his life. Athol Williams says he has received threats since testifying in a corruption inquiry.
RT World News. November 8, 6:10 America New York. Iran's young soldiers show off indigenous hardware in battle-like drills videos. Tehran has hailed the capabilities of its domestically developed and made defense hardware as the Iranian army undertakes its latest military exercise, familiarizing its younger personnel with battle-like conditions. RT World News. November 8, 6:08 America New York. China builds life-size mock-ups of U.S. warships to test missiles, report. The Chinese military has been building life-size mock-ups of U.S. warships in a missile testing area, a report says, citing satellite images. The same types of vessels regularly sail close to Chinese waters and around Taiwan. Washington Post World. November 8, 6:08 America New York. Singapore halts execution of disabled Malaysian amid pleas. Singapore's High Court has halted the imminent execution of a Malaysian man believed to have a mental disability, amid pleas from the international community and rights groups.